If YouTube has memory, it may still remember Li Ziqi. Over the past few years, this lady from Western China has uploaded 131 videos on YouTube. Her video style was clear and clean, showcasing the mysterious Oriental culture and the peaceful rural life. However, one day in 2021, Liziqi suddenly stopped updating on YouTube. It wasn't until the end of 2024 that she uploaded 3 more videos, only to disappear again. So what exactly happened to her? Liziqi was born in 1990 in Sichuan province, China. Her childhood was a tragedy. Li's parents divorced when she was very young, and soon after, her father passed away. Liziqi was left to live with her grandmother. This is also why Granny played such an important role in Li's videos. Due to extreme poverty, Liziqi dropped out of school at the age of 14. She had no choice but to leave her village and find a job in a neighboring city. It is said that she worked as a waitress and a part-time DJ. While at this point, Li's fate began to change quietly. For many Chinese people, the time from 2000 to 2015 was an era of transformation. China joined the WTO, established closer ties with the world, urbanization began to take off, and the internet infrastructure spread across the country. Those later world-renowned tech giants such as Alibaba and Tencent also experienced tremendous growth during the decade. Li also embraced the first turning point in her life. The work experience in the city broadened her horizons, and she realized that the internet could make some difference. So, Liziqi returned to her hometown and opened an online store selling local agricultural products. This way, she could earn an income while taking care of her elderly granny. Even that was 10 years ago. The competition in China's e-commerce market was fierce. In order to make her store stand out, Liziqi began filming some rural life videos as a supplementary marketing method. Initially, the response was lukewarm. It wasn't until April 2016 that a video introducing cherry wine went viral on the Chinese internet. From that point on, things started to improve. Her unique Chinese rural lifestyle began to attract more and more viewers. Liziqi's popularity attracted the attention of many potential collaborators, including businessman Liu Tongming and his MCN agency, Weinian. So what is an MCN? MCN, aka multi-channel network, can be understood as the management team for influencers. It helps influencers with content planning, video editing, account management, and so on. More importantly, an MCN agency usually holds many business resources, so it also acts as an intermediary between influencers and advertisers, leveraging the influencer's brand to generate more revenue. And this characteristic laid the groundwork for the conflict between Liziqi and Weinian later on. Back in 2016, Liu was certain that Liziqi had huge potential to go viral, so he began desperately reaching out to her. Liu was so eager to collaborate with Liziqi that Li initially thought he was a scammer. Finally, after countless online communications and a business trip that spanned 5,000 kilometers from Hangzhou to Sichuan, Liziqi agreed to cooperate with Weinian. At the beginning, the collaboration between Liziqi and Weinian was very pleasant. At the end of 2016, Liziqi filmed a video introducing traditional Western China-style noodles, which sparked a massive discussion on China's social media. In this video, you can clearly see Weinian's capabilities. It helped Liziqi equip herself with more advanced filming equipment, and the video editing became more professional, allowing Liziqi to focus more on content creativity. The video was viewed 50 million times in China only. Weinian also helped Li set up a YouTube account, introducing her to audiences worldwide. More importantly, with the deepening cooperation between Liziqi and Weinian, her business model underwent a huge change. she no longer focused on monetizing through advertisements. It may sound unbelievable, right? In fact, Wei Nian designed a more profitable commercialization path for Li. Simply put, it was brand over ads. Using its resources in e-commerce and food industry supply chain, Wei Nian registered Liziqi as a food brand in China. In 2018, Wei Nian partnered with a food processing factory and began producing popular products under the Liziqi brand, such as chili paste, hot pot seasonings, rose-flavored pastries, and a type of rice noodle with a special smell. These products were quickly mass-produced and launched on China's e-commerce platforms. The products was extremely popular among young people. In most months of 2019, the online store exceeded $12 million in revenue, with rice noodles becoming a super best-selling product, selling over 1 million packs almost every month. By 2020, the sales of the Liziqi brand had reached $230 million. These gilded days were wonderful. Liziqi became a wealthy young internet celebrity through her talent, and of course, Wei Nian benefited even more. From 2018 to 2020, Wei Nian secured investments from external institutions each year, with each investment exceeding $10 million. There were rumors that in 2019, Wei Nian's valuation on the primary market reached $232 million. The story reached its climax in 2021. The pandemic pushed the influencer economy to its peak, and large companies began to pay more attention to top influencers. In July, Wei Nian received strategic investment from ByteDance, pushing Wei Nian's valuation to more than $460 million. People began to believe that Liziqi and Wei Nian would only grow bigger, and stocks related to Wei Nian surged in China's capital market. A shoe company saw its stock price surge by 200% in just a few days, simply because it held a 0.55% stake in Wei Nian. But it was at this moment that this uplifting story took a sharp downturn. When a lifestyle account turns into a business worth millions of dollars, everyone sitting at the table might care more about how much cheese they can get from it. As investors made a fortune in the capital market with the concept of Liziqi, Li herself realized that as the actual content creator, she seemed not to have received a fair return. Let's first look at how Wei Nian and Liziqi distribute profits. The main company responsible for creating Liziqi's videos is called Sichuan Ziqi Cultural Communication, also known as Ziqi Culture. Liziqi owned 49% of the company, while Wei Nian held 51%. It doesn't seem like a big difference, right? However, as we mentioned earlier, in the business model designed by Wei Nian, the revenue generated from video creation was only a very small part of the total revenue. The real gold mine comes from e-commerce, that is, the revenue from selling rice noodles and snacks. This part of the business was entirely controlled by Wei Nian, which means Li could not get any profits from it. In other words, although the Liziqi title contributed most of the income to Wei Nian, Li herself was more like an employee of Wei Nian, not a shareholder. The dividends she received from the capital market were even less than those of the shoe company we mentioned earlier. Li believes that the MCN can only earn massive profits because of the Liziqi IP, and she deserved a larger share of the profits or more stakes. But the Wei Nian cannot accept this proposal because, as a profit-oriented company, simply adjusting the contract and the profit-sharing plan would bring losses to the company. The two sides were unable to reach an agreement behind the scenes, and eventually their cooperation broke down. On July 14, 2021, after releasing a video about salt production, Liziqi, the creator with 26 million YouTube followers, disappeared from all media channels. Soon after, the conflict started to be made public. On August 26th, Liziqi's personal assistant posted on the Chinese social media platform Weibo, stating that Liziqi needed time to deal with real-world issues and continue learning. Some Chinese media began to realize that there might have been some problems between Liziqi and Wei Nian. On October 22nd, Liziqi appeared on a talk show. During the show, she said she most wanted to do two things in the future. First, support rural revitalization, a strategy proposed by the Chinese government to support rural areas. Second, promote content related to intangible cultural heritage. Liziqi also said she did not suggest all young people to become influencers. It seems that e-commerce and selling rice noodles were not parts of her future plan. On November 1st, Wei Nian, which had remained silent, finally issued an official statement. In the statement, the MCN agency claimed that we have had multiple communications with Liziqi regarding equity and other rights matters, but there has been no substantial progress. This seems to confirm many of the speculations. The statement also said Wei Nian has never controlled any of Liziqi's accounts. From then on, Liziqi and Wei Nian entered a long period of negotiation during which her YouTube channel was never updated again. In December 2022, 14 months after Liziqi filed a lawsuit against Wei Nian, the two parties finally reached a settlement. According to Chinese media reports, the equity structure of Ziqi Culture was altered. Liziqi's stake in the company increased to 99%, meaning she gained absolute control of this company. However, the media did not disclose whether Liziqi obtained any additional rights elsewhere. This outcome excited many of Liziqi's fans in China. In their eyes, Li at least regained control over her brand. Well, Wei Nian became the big loser. They lost their most critical content creator, along with a major investment. Even worse, Liziqi's fans were deeply disappointed with Wei Nian, and its e-commerce business suffered severely. In 2020, Wei Nian's Liziqi branded products generated over $230 million in revenue. However, in 2021, that number dropped to $105 million. By the first half of 2022, sales of Liziqi branded products plummeted to just $26 million, a year-on-year decrease of over 50%. In November 2024, after nearly 3 years of silence, Liziqi finally returned and released 3 new videos on YouTube. These videos averaged 20 million views each, proving that followers around the world hadn't forgotten her. Unfortunately, in 2025, Liziqi once again stopped updating her channel, and this time, no one knows the reason behind it. This is as far as we can tell the story of Liziqi. I don't want to judge the dispute between Wei Nian and Li. Back in 2018, I believe both sides were passionate about cooperation. But what I can see is that there may be an inherent flaw in the business model of collaboration between creators and MCN agencies. Once a creator becomes famous, conflicts may arise between the two parties regarding revenue sharing, company control, and values. Creators want to produce higher quality content for their audiences while earning a decent income. Meanwhile, MCNs tend to push creators to maximize monetization efficiency and seek to control a larger share of profits. Liziqi was not the only creator affected by this kind of partnership. In early 2025, Sui Po, a well-known food vlogger on China's version of TikTok, Douyin, and a former executive chef at Hilton, was also reported to have parted ways with his MCN. Rumors suggest the two sides couldn't agree on commercial terms. As the influencer economy continues to boom, such conflicts may become increasingly common. However, some sharp minds may have already spotted the fundamental flaw in this collaboration model. In 2021, ByteDance pulled out of its investment in Wei Nian, and since then, the tech giant has not invested in any other MCN agency.